Hey guys, this is the Real Hadeel podcast where I'll be interviewing women-owned business owners. And today we have Sevana Stone with Versatile Solutions. And Savana's going to tell us a little bit more about her company and what she does, and we get to maybe learn a few things from it.
Hi everyone, my name is Sevana Stone. I'm with Versatile Solutions. Our company does back-end office task management. We take care of bookkeeping needs, we take care of office management needs, and we also take care of social media content management needs. Our bookkeepers and our admin people go either in your office or they work remotely. They work hourly and they're contracted, so you only pay for the time that you use. We are located in Fairfax, and a majority of the members of my team are also located in the Northern Virginia area.
Awesome. So Savana, tell us a little bit more about, how you got started, what were you doing before that you started the company, and, why you did it.
Okay. I started my company 7 years ago. I have lived in Virginia for 10 years. I'm originally from Virginia, but I spent my formative years and adult years in Michigan. We moved here about 10 years ago, and before that, I did a lot of different things. Trying to find myself, trying to figure out who I wanted to be. I worked in sales, I worked in jewelry in Detroit, so I kind of figure if I can do that, I can do anything. And then I also did event speaker promoting. I did bookkeeping, I did admin, I also did makeup, and I actually was also in the entertainment industry. I sang. So there was a lot of things that were going on in my life, but none of it really felt right. Doing office work was something that I really enjoyed. Doing bookkeeping was something I really enjoyed. And plus I'm a writer at heart. I'm very passionate about writing. And writing was very much at the core of me. But while living in Michigan, it didn't occur to me that I could fuse the three. It was a challenge for me growing up to live an easy life. I didn't have an easy life. So I had to create opportunities for myself. When I moved here, I decided that I had to really create an opportunity for myself. And since I loved all three and couldn't decide on any one, I decided to fuse all three together and create a company. And although some people said, why are you doing all three? Why aren't you doing one? I figured, well, why not? It'll work.
Right.
And it did.
Very cool. And you said that when you were in Michigan, you learned a lot because you said you did many different jobs. So talk to me more about that. Why was jewelry a good move for you at the time? What did you learn from that?
So everyone in my family, on my mom's side of the family, on my dad's side of the family, everybody owns a business. So in my family, it's kind of different than what other people probably experience. You go to school, you graduate, you go to college, you get a job. In my family, it's maybe you go to school, maybe you don't, but you start a business and that is your life. And so for me, I was trying to figure out who I wanted to be. I worked in jewelry because when we moved up to Michigan, I had to support my mom. My mother and I moved up to Michigan, and I was paying rent, I was paying bills, and paying insurance and all of the things that an adult would. And I was working for family.
And you were 16 at the time, right?
I was 16 at the time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I was living on my own and living as an adult. And so I had to, I leaned upon my family to work there. And by working there, I was very fortunate to be surrounded by very supportive people. And I learned a lot of great lessons from all of the people that I worked with and worked for.
What was the best lesson you learned from one particular person? I think I might know who it might be.
Yeah. So I started going up to Michigan when I was 11, and I spent my whole summers there, and I always worked for my uncle. And my uncle had a manager there who was a spitfire, and it's funny because she had super red hair as well. She was a very diligent manager, if you will. And I was probably 11 or 12, I don't remember what, and I was supposed to start work at 8:30. And so I showed up at 8:30, and she told me to go home. Get out of here, go home. And I'm like, what? You told me to be here at 8:30, I'm here at 8:30. And she said, no, you're late.
Wow.
And I said, of course started crying because I was like, oh my gosh, my mother's going to be mad at me, my grandparents are going to be mad at me, my uncle's going to be mad at me. And she said, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, don't bother. And that was the earliest lesson I learned. She's also the one that taught me about the 4 pillars of success. And I say 4 pillars of success so often that people identify me with that now, because she's the one who said that you could have any kind of business. It doesn't matter if you know the business or not. If you have 4 strong pillars, that will hold your foundation. 4 pillars being financial management, marketing management, customer management, and office management.
Right.
And when you couple that with processes, every business will be a success.
Right.
If you don't have one of those, if one of those is not strong, company will fail 100% of the time.
And right here, what Sevana's talking about is so crucial because so many businesses just start and don't realize they need to have the systems in place.
Right.
And that can go along the way. You can create those systems, but sometimes they'll just keep going, forget that they have to have a good financial foundation and a good marketing team, a good office manager, just so people can actually help them control. So
right.
That's like a really good lesson to
Well,
learn.
and the way that I see it is, if your business is a car and your processes and your pillars are the wheels, no one in their right mind would drive a car without wheels. You wouldn't start putting wheels onto a car that's already going 60 miles an hour. So why are you trying to put process into a business that's already started?
Right. And that's a great analogy. And that lesson you learned about being on time, I think it's so important. Because, I mean, we come from similar backgrounds. She's Armenian, Lebanese, you know, so, like, we're always late to everything.
We have our own time. We call it Armenian time. I mean, Armenian time means you're going to show up within the hours of when you're supposed to be there.
Like, I'll come at 5, it's like
sure.
8 o'clock and you're like, oh God, I'm so late.
Yeah, I mean, if it's 5, then you show up at 7. I mean,
it's just
that's
like
normal.
Unless you're like my aunt who like fools us every time for Thanksgiving. She's like, I need you guys to be here by 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So she knows that she'll plan dinner to be ready by 7 because that's when we're gonna actually show up.
I do the exact same thing.
Well, that's awesome. So tell me more. Tell me what your why was to start this company.
So when I moved here, the first time I lived here, I left here at an early enough age that it didn't really resonate with me. I wasn't connected to this area. Well, and plus I spent so much of my time in Michigan, I already wasn't connected to this area. And being Armenian and living in Detroit, or living in the Detroit area, there's a huge percentage of Armenians there, so it felt more like home. So when I came back here, it was like being a fish out of water. In Detroit, everyone knew me. It was either through the entertainment industry or through the nightlife industry, or, you know, somebody knew me somehow. And so I was kind of a big fish there. When I moved here, I knew no one, and it was bizarre. And so I identified really quickly 2 things. One, where I live, there's no drive-through McDonald's, there's no drive-through Dunkin' Donuts. Bizarre to me.
Because in Detroit.
Because everything in Michigan is drive-through. Wow. I mean, I used to get my groceries through a drive-through. So
well, you guys are on the go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, land is cheap there.
Right.
So anyone at any time wants to start a business, that you just open up a shop. It's unheard of to work from home. And that was the second thing that I identified. On my street, everyone worked from home, and I thought that was so weird.
Right.
So come to find out, well, yeah, it's super expensive here. So that's why workspaces, share spaces all work very well. Well, then who does the plugins for those people? Who's doing the office management? That was what I was thinking about. Who's doing office management for these people? How do they get their books done? If they're working by themselves, that means they're doing everything by themselves. That was weird to me, because that's not the world that I grew up in. So it took me about 2 years to really formulate my idea, but the thing that I was missing the most, and why it took me 2 years almost 3 years to finally do it, was confidence. And I think that as a woman, and especially with my background, not the Armenian part, the growing up part, I was really lacking in confidence. Right. I had taken quite a few stumbles along my life journey, and I was missing that portion. Plus I had started working for a person who really made me feel that much worse about my level of confidence. And frankly, leading up to the few months before I finally said, I'm doing this, a little birdie in my ear said, you already failed. And of course, when you're saying that to someone who already has no confidence, it's like, well, gee, thanks.
Right.
But then it kind of turned itself around that, all right, you failed. You are a complete failure. So at this point, you can only go up.
Right.
all right, Sevana, now you have only up to look forward to. And Little Voice was right. I only went up from there. So in January 1st of 2011, I said, that's it, I'm doing this, and I started my business, and it's only been up from there.
Wow, that's amazing. And the confidence thing you talk about, sometimes maybe because obviously I didn't know you from before, so I didn't see how you were, but like, you know, the whole background of singing and I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but Sevana Stone, Google her. Like, back then she had a voice. I mean, she still has a voice.
I mean, I still got a voice, but I don't have a voice like that. Like, I don't have the stamina to do the shows that I used to do.
I know, it was crazy. When you told me, I was like, okay, this one was just like, you know, like kind of the professors that are like, you know, oh yeah, I used to do this, but really they just, you know, went back to teaching. But she actually really like went out there and she performed a lot. Like, it got to a point where it was just you and Alicia, like, right? Am I not? No,
it was just me. Like,
it
was just me. Well, on that was just another example of me creating opportunity.
Right.
I don't know what it was always about me. I always thought when there were blocks put in front of me, or if I was put into a box and I had to create a window or a door and I couldn't, I would basically cut out a wall and just walk through it. I've always been an opportunity creator, and I think that's what saved me multiple times.
Right.
And that was 20 years ago.
Wow.
I created an opportunity for myself, and I met an amazing producer in Chicago and created a beautiful song with him that really should not have been as big of a hit as it turned out to become. And it set me off on this beautiful journey that I did a few more songs. I had a great experience going from, I performed in so many different areas. I was in LA, I was venues, New York, and in Detroit and Miami. Like, I performed in so many different places. My favorite was Nashville. And it was wonderful.
Right.
And I hung my hat when I was at the top. So I felt very comfortable walking away from it. And everyone that I worked with in between, I still talk to.
That's very cool. And it's phenomenal how her story started with that. You know, she was just like at a club or something.
Yeah, I was at a club. I was
okay to say that, right? Your parents would already kill you.
No. No, I was already married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was an excuse.
Yeah. So my group of friends were part of a nonprofit organization called Geared for Life, and Geared for Life did a motorball, which was a charity event every year, and at this particular one, I got there a little bit early, and a Mariah Carey song came on, and someone was standing next to me, but I didn't realize who it was that was standing next to me. And so I said, oh, it's Mariah. And he said, what's wrong with that? And I said, she can't sing. If she ever heard me sing, she'd be ashamed to consider herself a singer, to call herself a singer. And he was like, seriously? I'm like, I had such chutzpah back then. And
a big ego.
Yeah, totally big ego. And he introduces himself as the DJ. And actually, he's one of my closest friends now, Keith Ware. And he's like, well, I'm the DJ and I also am a producer. And I'm like, oh. Okay then. And he goes, well, prove it to me. So I did. The next day or 2 days later, he was also DJing at another event that was still part of the motor hall. And I gave him a really, really bad demo. But he introduced me to Ralphie Rosario. I go down to Chicago. Ralphie pulls out a song from the Ritchie family.
Wow.
And he says, this is the song I think you ought to do. And I did, and Give Me a Break became a big hit. Wow. And again, it led me to all of these wonderful, amazing people that I met.
And you had like your specific audience too, which was crazy. Like,
it's a very, very specific audience. So, but it was fun because I had so much fun, and I met so many great people. And actually, I felt like I can't go any higher than this. When I was at Billboard in Atlanta, and they announced like the best new dance music artists, or something along those lines. It was
like dance pop or something like that.
It was like the best new dance music artists or something like that. And it was Lisa from Lisa and the Cult Jam, who was, that from my generation was like the queen. And she introduced me.
She was the Beyonce for everyone.
She introduced me, and I was like, I can't go any higher than this. Lisa, like she's the one who's introducing me. I lived my life off of her records. Yeah, so, but that was like the beginning of my journey. There were
Yeah, you
so
were so
many.
young. You were like 20.
I was 22.
22, wow.
Yeah, I was 22, and so
crazy.
I performed until I was 7 months pregnant with my daughter.
Wow.
And I still had 2 more shows, or rather, yeah, I did, because it was in November, and I was supposed to perform at a show in December and a show in January,
Wow.
and I was due in February.
Oh my God.
And I was like, yeah, no, I'm done. Like, I can't do this.
Right.
I was so, because the song, if you've heard it, it's a bellowing kind of song.
Yeah, extremely powerful.
And between having to do that with a baby in your belly, it's not the easiest thing. So
I was ready to give labor right
yeah. I was like, oh no, this is it. I'm one and done. I'm not doing this song again. And and then I had my daughter, and I still sang, and it was when my son, actually after I moved here, that was the last, after I moved here, because I still had some obligations to doing some writing. I wrote a few more songs, did a few more like demo songs, and then that was the end of that. I knew that I had to shed that so that I could move on to something else.
That's crazy though to me, because so many women out there, especially being an artist, like it's a big thing. Like, you know, when you get that opportunity, you don't want to lose it. And it surprises me how you were just like, you know what, my time is over. I don't want to do it anymore. I saw something better.
Yeah,
you know?
well, what actually why I decided it is because the person that was also performing with me at the same show, she had three kids, I think. I knew that she had children, and she performed a lot. She was out a lot, and I was thinking, like, I have this new baby. I really want to spend time with her. I don't know that I want to be doing clubs. I want to be with her. This is not my focus anymore. This is my focus now. And not to judge her on what her decisions were. She has a wonderful, beautiful life, like she still does perform. But it just didn't seem right to me. And it's funny because everything that I have done, even like when I was in school, even in elementary school, like, oh, you like rock music? This person likes rock music. I'm going to introduce the two of you. I've always been a power connector. Even when I was in music, oh, this person does this kind of music. Oh, you like that kind of music, so let me introduce you. Even because of my influence and because of my relationships, I was like, oh, this club needs this DJ. Oh, just worked with that DJ. Here, let me introduce you. So I was doing referrals and networking before I even knew what referrals and networking was. Yeah. And so it was a real easy transition for me to go into a business. I didn't realize it until I started doing it. And when I started doing it, I was like, oh, that's what networking is. That's what connecting is. I've been doing this my whole life. I know what this all is. So it was really easy for me to go into it.
To what you were saying about confidence, you know, I know that you said over the years it took you to develop that. What steps did you take to get to that point where you're like, okay, I'm confident in myself, I own this room, and I can do my own company, you know, piece of cake?
I think a lot of it came from, as a young child, I've always been told, I can't do something.
Right.
You can't do that because of this. You shouldn't do this because of this. And that never really resonated with me. I never believed it. I don't know what it was inside of me, but I'd be like, no, I'm not dumb enough for that. I can do that. I'm smart enough for that. Or no, I'm not to this. I'm not to that. I am going to be able to do it. And because I had so many struggles and so many barriers, that was what built my confidence. And interestingly enough, I think that there's support to that. I was watching a show about these women who wrote a book about confidence. And they said that the difference that how you gain confidence is struggle. And I was like, well, then there you go. So, because you have to struggle in order to believe in yourself. Right. And that was where my confidence came from, was me saying, you know what, I am going to do it because I can do it. Because I've got me to look up to in the end. I got my own face to look at in the mirror.
That's so true too, because when I was younger, you know, I had a confidence issue as well, and someone once said this. I don't remember what, you know, book I read or whatnot. They said that, you know, it's easy to be confident when you're not tested. You know, like it's easy to be confident about your looks when no one's ever told you you're ugly. You know, it's easy to feel like you have a beautiful body when no one's ever told you that you're too fat or too skinny. You know, it's funny, like when you are put in situations as a human being and put into things that you're not used to, and it's uncomfortable and it hurts, and then you're able to overcome it. That's when you've created like a whole different type of mastery, you know?
Right. I think it helps when you have an image for yourself to.
Exactly.
I always imagined a phoenix.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I always felt that I was like a phoenix, because it hurt. Oh my gosh, the struggle would hurt, and sometimes I would feel like I can't take this anymore. I really cannot take this anymore. Please stop putting more things on top of me. But then I would rise from it and come out of it fresh and new, and like, whew, I came out of this, and I know what it is. I appreciate the success now.
That's awesome. That's phenomenal. That's something that most women need to hear too, because that's something we're struggling, especially in the teenage years. You know, it's like the hardest part. You know? You're born into this world, and you're just like, there's so much you need to learn, and there's so many things that are thrown at you, and I think confidence is step one. Yeah.
So because of that sensory overload, another ism that I have is to think small and to dream small. Because everybody says dream big, think big. I don't think so. I don't think that that's true, because when you do that, you set yourself up.
Interesting. Okay.
Do I think that I could climb Mount Everest? Absolutely not. I can barely do the hill in my neighborhood. However, I can do the hill in my neighborhood. So there's that. And that is a thinking small. When you think small, you eat life in small bites. And when you dream small, you conquer that one dream, or you accomplish that one dream, then you move on to another dream. And then you accomplish that dream, and you move on to another dream. So thinking small and dreaming small will actually get you the reality you want, not thinking big and dreaming big. Right. Those are great ideas, but it becomes overwhelming. And you get sensory overload. When you think small, you dream small, you focus small, that's when true success will be achieved.
Interesting. I definitely have to agree with you on most of that, just because I'm a big dreamer, so I have all these goals that I want, you know, and everything I want to accomplish. But you're right. You know, sometimes when you dream big, you get distracted really easily.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm like, okay, I really want to do this, but wait, I'm still here. You know, so maybe taking baby steps. Yeah. And I think that's a good way of putting it. Dream smaller a little bit, but as you accomplish one dream a little bit bigger. Yeah. And keep going.
And you have to appreciate the now, because if you dream big, you're looking forward, and you're not seeing what's going on right here. You don't get to revel in what just happened right here. And I think that's something that we don't do enough of. We don't live in the now. We don't live in what is happening right now and soak in what just occurred. So when we are able to do that, we are more conscious and aware of what is happening, and more conscious and aware of where we're going.
Right.
And I also am a huge believer in energy and the kind of energy that you put out. I don't believe that we should be fighting towards something. You don't fight towards something. You always fight against something.
Cut him off, and then like my brother sometimes would be like, okay, Hadeel, like chill. let him finish, because they might have said something that would have changed the whole response.
You never know what somebody's going to say.
Exactly.
And you also never know what other people know. That, I think, is one of the secrets of being a connector. You don't know who other people know. You cannot judge a person. Again, that comes from having worked in jewelry in Detroit.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm sure you run into...
You never know who's got money, so you don't turn anybody down. You don't know who those people know. I mean, I have seen so many different types of people that you would judge them from the front. Like, if you judge them from the get-go, you'd have no idea what their story is. And when they tell you, they open their mouth and give you 3 sentences, you're like, wow, I would have never thought that. That's how it is with networking. That's how it is with business. That's how it is with life. Give a person an opportunity to tell you just one little thing about them, and your perception will change it immediately.
I mean, that's 100% true. I can definitely say that there was times when I first started where I would just be like, they can't help me. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Until like life just slaps me right in the face, and I end up realizing that this guy is the sister of this head director of this, and I'm like, oh, I messed up, you know, like, what did I just do?
It's a learning.
But it's a learning lesson, you know, 100%. And that's very important. I think people tend to forget that. It's the little things.
Yep. Well, that's the difference between success and failure, too.
Yeah.
I guess if you decide, if you're going to be in business, you have to be more of a yes person, and you have to be a better listener.
Yeah, because if you listen, then you can make sure that's the right yes to say.
Right.
So tell me a little bit more about what do you want to do next? Like, what's next goal? I know you said you have this bookkeeping company, and you're doing it, and you're moving forward, getting more, you know, admin work. What's the goal out of it?
I think that it's possible to scale my business. I think that it's possible to duplicate it, and I'd love to build it to a point where it can be automated and duplicated. I have a vision to have more of what I have in other areas of the country. And I think that it's very possible. I have all of my processes written down. I have all of my steps, all of my protocols, everything has been written down already. Now it's a matter of automating it. And once it's automated, then I think it can become duplicated.
Right. It's awesome. That's something going to definitely scale your business and give people opportunities to also have jobs.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Something that Sevana does really well is that she hires a lot of these admins, and these can be single moms. These, I mean, they can be college students. They can really be anybody that knows how to use Excel, knows how to do the computer, really good at listening and making sure that they're up to date with everything.
The bookkeeping, the admin, the social media. The great thing about it is that everyone's contracted, so you get to make your own hours. Right. And that was really, really important to me when I had my daughter. She was a year old when I started working from home, and I started doing things that are very similar to what my business model is on. And if that was not the case for me, I would not have been able to be home with my kids and made money at the same time. There was nothing I was qualified for to make me enough money for my children to go to daycare. I was not afforded the same luxuries. And yes, college is a luxury. I was not afforded the same luxuries that most other people had been. I had to create my own path. I had to create my own. And I succeeded in spite of what was put in front of me, not necessarily because of what was put in front of me. And so I like to give that kind of opportunity to those who work for me as well.
That's awesome. And what I guess going off of that, what advice do you want to give to other moms out there who are trying to do something similar and start their own business but have kids and this life they have to make sure they
believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. I think that's the biggest thing, is believing in yourself, because there's a lot of women that I don't think a mom should be. I'm gonna go back. I don't think a mom should be a definition. I think it should be an adjective. And too many women define themselves as, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm a stay-at-home wife, or whatever it is. That's not your definition. That is your adjective. You're also a poet. You're also a writer. You're also a designer. You're also a, whatever it may be. You're also a Wonder Woman, whatever it is. These are all adjectives to you. These should be descriptions of you, not definitions of you. And once you flip that a little bit and not let these words define you, I think you then have more confidence to move forward and do something else. And you will always find a way. If there's anything life has taught me, there is always a way to get to what you want. It's just a matter of stopping and finding pause, and before you know it, it will show up. You have to believe it before you will ever see it. So,
and that's very powerful, because in this, all over the world, women are they're always labeled. You're a mom, you're this, you're that. But in reality, you can be anything. And if we just didn't have that label, oh my God, women would be so powerful in this world. And I can't wait.
Well, women are powerful.
They are, and I just can't wait till the day where women start having that mindset and they start realizing how much power they can have, but use it for good.
Well, it all starts in the brain.
Exactly.
And everyone has to collectively believe that, but I don't know that we'll all do that. But that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, we'll get there.
However, I think that it's the same for men. I feel men and women, we're all humans on this earth. So you're not going to see it to believe it. That if you're looking at life that way, it's never going to happen for you. You have to believe it. You have to plant the seed mentally for it to manifest itself in reality. And so if you do that, if you believe in it and you believe in it and then write it down, that's something that I do every year, actually. Every year, at the lowest point, at my lowest point mentally 7 years ago, I wrote down a list of all the things that I wanted. And I didn't write down things like, I want a new car, I want a big house. Those aren't the things I wrote. I wrote I want a new coffee table. I want a new set of cups. I want little things. I put all of my intentions, and then I want 10 clients by the end of the year. That was when I had first started my company, and I thought very small. And so I wrote all of these things down, and out of the 10 things I wrote, maybe about 4 of them came to life. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Next year, I wrote maybe 15 things, and of those 15 things, maybe 10 of those came to be. Then I started to be like, oh, now I'm gonna start writing big things in here. And so every year, and then the third year, I wrote 15 things. All 15 things happened.
Wow.
And from that point on, I started being like, I don't know, I want to go on a trip to New York. And before I knew it, like at some point, one of my friends actually surprised me for a trip to New York.
Wow.
I was like, oh, knock that off my list. So it was weird, but it's true because I thought of it, I wrote it down, and then I just put it actually, I just let it go into the universe. It's actually next to my coffee maker. So
perfect. There you go.
It's on my refrigerator next to my coffee maker.
Charm.
Yeah. So, and every year I write down on that things that I want personally and the things that I want professionally, and they will manifest.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely something a lot of people should do too. It's like your visionary board.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to become, whatever you want to do, just have that. Mm-hmm. And that's something I do too. Actually, every morning I make sure I have my laws of like what to remember every morning.
Yeah.
And I have the people I want to become, even if they're like men or women. It doesn't matter. Like it's just who I want to become and the personality I want to show to other people, because that's just something I strive to do. And it works. It works like a charm. So, to end this, I just want to last question. What's one truth you want the world to, what's one truth you want to share with the world before you leave it behind?
So, 2 things. One, I feel that if you're afraid to move forward, you've already failed. That was how I believed in myself. So I felt that if I was too afraid to move forward, then I had already failed, and now I can only go up. Right. So that's one. But the biggest thing is what my grandfather, my mother's father, always said, that whether you're rich or you're poor, it doesn't matter. The thing that you leave behind is your reputation. So you want to make sure that people show up to your funeral.
Right. It's true. It's very important.
And the other good one is about I don't want to burn bridges. Right. Because then I'll have to swim across, and I'm not a very good swimmer. So I have to be careful about not burning bridges. Right. No matter how upset I might be with someone, better to just leave it be.
That's powerful, yeah. Because
that angry energy is only going to manifest itself back into me.
It will just come. It always comes back to you. So if you can handle it the best way you can, then
exactly
you can move forward at peace.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sevana, for coming in today and letting us hear your story. I mean, it's phenomenal. I know a ton of women are going to love this. Yeah. One last thing. I mean, where can we all find you? Where can we follow you?
You can go on versatelsolutions.com. That's VERSATEL solutions.com. Also, what I didn't mention is I'm also a partner for the Nexco organization. It's a networking organization. You can go on Nexco now. It's NEXCONOW.com. Currently, we have 5 chapters. I am running the Fairfax chapter. We have one in Tysons, Reston, Alexandria, and Arlington as well. And I encourage anyone and everyone to come out to one of our chapters, one of our business socials, or just find me on my website. I'm more than happy to talk to anyone who's interested.
Yeah, Nexco, guys, is a really great place for you to network. It's just another option for you to meet new people, set up one-to-ones with them. I think it would be a great way to just network. And also, if anybody who needs admin work or anything like that, you know who to call.
Yeah, I'm looking for. I'm always looking for clients. So if you have any interest in it, you can also go to info@versatelsolutions.com. Email me, and we'll go from there.
All right, thank you, guys. Stay tuned. We're having more interviews to come. So this is the Real Hadeel podcast, and we'll see you soon. Bye.